2 rivers, fertile plains, and a people determined to turn geography into greatness. Imagine standing at the edge of a continent, a land so vast, it stretches as wide as all of Europe combined. This is China. To the east, a lush, fertile plain carved by 2 mighty rivers, the Yangtze and Yellow River, known to the Chinese as the Huanghe. These rivers didn't just carry water, they carried civilization. They made farming possible. They built cities. They gave birth to one of the greatest cultures the world has ever known. But travel west, and the landscape shifts entirely. Dry, sandy, unforgiving, high plateaus rising toward the sky, and stretching from the temperate north to the tropical south. No 2 parts of this country feel the same. For 4,000 years, from 2070 before the Common Era all the way to 1912, Common Era China was ruled by dynasties, emperors, bloodlines, power passed from generation to generation within the same family walls. But power was never safe for long. Between each dynasty came chaos, periods of disunity where China fractured into smaller states, each hungry for land, each willing to fight for it. The darkest of these, a stretch of 260 years known simply as the Warring States. Then came the Qin. In 221 before Common Era, the Qin dynasty did what seemed impossible. It united a broken China under one rule. But their reign was brief, barely 15 years before they fell. What followed would become one of history's most enduring empires, the Han Dynasty. For centuries of reunification, growth, and strength, that it all began with one manly bang, the first Han Emperor, a ruler who took the throne in 202 before Common Era and changed the course of Chinese history forever. The Han Dynasty ruled unblessed by nature, protected by deserts, mountains, and the Pacific Ocean. Their empire stood like a fortress. At its heart, 2 rivers, the Yangtze and the Yellow River, turned the soil rich and black, fueling harvest after harvest. From this abundance, a great population grew. Stability reigned. But the land that gave life could also take it away. When drought struck, or when forests fell to feed the farms, the soil weakened, food grew scarce, the people suffered. So the Han emperors fought back. They carved canals into the earth. They built irrigation systems to carry water where it was needed most. And to guard against invasion from the north, they raised the first stones of a wall that would become legendary. The Great Wall of China. They did not wait for fortune. They built their own. From Yubang onward, the Han Dynasty bowed to one voice. The emperor. He ruled not by force alone, but by the mandate of heaven. The gods had chosen him. But divine right was fragile. If a ruler turned cruel or failed his people, the mandate was lost, and rebellion became justice. To hold the empire together, emperors wielded ethics like weapons. They sponsored Confucianism. The teachings of Confucius demanded a peaceful society built on respect. Respect for family, respect for education, respect for order. It taught that obedience to parents was the same as obedience to the throne. These ideas did more than guide morals. They secured power. They turned belief into authority, and they kept the Han Dynasty standing. While empires elsewhere relied on bloodlines, the Han built a machine of merit. Their bureaucracy dwarfed all others, even the Roman Empire, a vast network of officials organized into departments, running the country with precision. But here, power was not inherited. It was earned. Men devoted their lives to studying Confucian ideas and strategies of government. Only those who passed the test could serve the emperor. In the Han Dynasty, the pen was as mighty as the sword. This was not just government, it was the birth of meritocracy. The Han Dynasty didn't just rule an empire. They built a system that actually worked. While other ancient powers relied on chaos and charisma, the Han created a bureaucracy that handled the real work, collecting taxes, enforcing laws, defending borders. Judges settled disputes. Officials ran massive projects. Governors controlled entire regions like powerful corporations. But running the world's largest empire came with problems. Rebellions at home, invasions from Central Asian nomads, and every new territory they conquered made everything harder to manage. So they did what smart leaders do. They scaled up. The bureaucracy got bigger, more specialized, more powerful. Because in ancient China, the Han Dynasty figured out something modern governments still struggle with. To control an empire, you don't just need power, you need a system that can actually run it. Why does the Han Dynasty feel so close to us? Because they invented paper. Before this, history was carved in stone. Now, ideas could flow. Information wasn't lost to time. It was recorded, stored. Education became the key to power. So the bureaucracy produced mountains of documents. We even have the work of Sima Qian, the first great historian, who documented everything from China's origins to Emperor Wu. But this wasn't just politics. It was belief. The government ran on ethics. Confucianism kept a vast state organized and obedient to the emperor. Yet, it wasn't a monopoly. Other belief systems lived alongside it. The Han didn't just build an empire. They wrote the story of it, and because of that, the voice still speaks to us today. While Confucianism kept the empire in order, another voice whispered a different truth. Dualism. It taught people to live simply, to flow with nature, to find harmony with the universe. But Dualism also celebrated freedom, and in the hands of the restless, that freedom became dangerous. Rebels embraced its teachings. They used its ideas to challenge the emperor himself. Then, something new arrived. During the Eastern Han period, Buddhism traveled the Silk Road and reached China. Its message of suffering, compassion, and enlightenment resonated with the people searching for meaning. Some didn't choose one path. They blended them all, Buddhist beliefs mixed with Confucian order and Taoist freedom. In ancient China, faith wasn't a battle, it was a conversation. And that conversation still shapes the world today. Faith and fortune collided. The result was a cultural explosion. Poetry, writing, pottery, sculpture, painting art flourished like never before. The wealthy draped themselves in silk, dyed in vibrant colors that defied the ancient world. They didn't just hoard wealth. They showed off their skills in music and writing, but this was more than just beauty. It was technology. Silk making was just one innovation in a period that changed everything. The Han Dynasty didn't just rule, they created. The Han Dynasty created a golden age of culture, but not everyone got to live in the gold. Only a small circle of powerful, educated families enjoyed the poetry, the art, the silk. Those people, they were farmers, working the land, feeding a massive population. They couldn't afford vibrant silks or fine paintings. But here's the thing, Confucianism taught that farmers mattered. They fed the empire. They were respected. Then there were the merchants, wealthier than peasants but viewed with suspicion. Confucian ethics saw profit as less virtuous than honest labor. Yet these merchants were the lifeblood of trade. They brought wealth into China. Goods from distant lands, even from Rome, arrived on their caravans. And alongside them, artisans crafted goods to sell, fueling an economy that stretched across continents. In ancient China, the Han Dynasty wasn't just one story. It was many. The farmer and the trader, different lives, different values, all holding up an empire. For 400 years, the Han Dynasty ran on a system that actually worked. While other ancient empires rose and fell on the whim of a single ruler, the Han built something different. A bureaucracy chosen by exam. Officials earn their power through knowledge, not just bloodlines. The result, a government that was smarter, more stable, more capable than almost anywhere else in the ancient world. But stability was fragile. It depended on three things: a wise emperor, peace at the borders, and rain in the fields. When all three aligned, life in ancient China wasn't just survivable. It was good. Farmers fed the empire, merchants brought wealth, scholars advanced culture. For a brief moment in human history, a vast civilization found balance. The Han Dynasty proved that with the right system, even an empire could thrive. For centuries, the Han system held. But empires don't fall overnight. They crumble from within. Late in the Han Dynasty, the weight became too much. Emperors taxed the farmers, the backbone of the empire, to fund endless wars. The exam system, once a beacon of merit, grew corrupt. Wealthy elites bought power. Rich families swindled farmland, pushing peasants into desperation. Some became bandits. Others fled to cities, homeless and forgotten. Meanwhile, the royal family turned on itself. Power struggles tore the court apart. And when disaster struck, floods, droughts, famine, the broken system had no answer. In 220 Common Era, the last Han emperor lost his throne. The empire fractured. China split into 3 warring kingdoms. Another age of chaos had begun. But here's what the collapse couldn't erase. The Han Dynasty changed everything. They built a bureaucracy that outlasted them. They pioneered paper, history, trade, and technology. They proved that a vast civilization could be governed with ideas, not just force. Every dynasty that followed stood on Han's shoulders. Their legacy didn't end in 220 Common Era. It echoed through centuries. If this journey through ancient China sparked your curiosity, hit like and subscribe. We explore the stories, systems, and minds that shaped our world. Because understanding the past isn't just about history, it's about understanding ourselves. See you in the next chapter.